In this week's episode of The Process, we have another honor and privilege to have a hardworking, dedicated, committed entrepreneur, skilled and amazing at what she does, Nathalie Toussaint. Make sure you tune in to this episode to learn the skills, to learn the wisdom that can help you become the best entrepreneur you desire to be. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to The Process. This is your host, Treasure Kalambe. What an honor and what a privilege once again to have you all tuning into this show. We're hoping that all of these interviews have really been beneficial, that they are providing the tools, the information, and the knowledge needed to get you to your next level. We are again honored today to have a wonderful guest in our midst to really be impactful to you. So listen, as you're watching this, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you share, because someone really needs to hear today's conversation. And it's my privilege. I have here a trailblazer, a hardworking, what we would call her in street terms, a hustler, someone who is really determined in what she does and making tremendous impact around her community and with all those that she comes in contact with. And that is Nathalie. How are you, dear?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. Thank you. I know you have such a busy schedule with all of the things you do. So I'm really happy that you took time to be with us this afternoon. So how have you been, this pandemic, these lockdowns? How are you handling everything so far?
Pretty good. I would say business has been good.
Yeah.
Last year was really amazing in terms of real estate, so we thank God, yeah.
Wow, and we'll get a chance to talk about that, let the people know about what you do in the real estate world. And we really wanted to have you on our platform today because of a lot of what you do, right? And, you know, we've been looking around the pandemic, looking around things that are happening, and there's a lot of women who have been seeking to get themselves going, right? Get a business going, get that entrepreneurship, you know, kind of kicking and moving, because they realize like, okay, I can do much more and there's much more for me to do. And that's why I wanted us to have that conversation so that we could hopefully be able to inform and educate somebody. But let us just get right into it. For you, I know you're in real estate and we'll get a chance to talk about that, but what got you started in the world of being an entrepreneur? What was it for you as a woman that says, you know what, I want to be my own boss? What was it for you?
I think it's just the fact that I was always unhappy in every job that I got. I would stay for like a year and then I wanted out. You know, I always liked real estate. I remember seeing Donald Trump many years ago, and before he became president, obviously. And I used to be like, I want to know what this guy does. I was so infatuated by him. Right. And I found out he was into real estate. So I said, I want to be like him, you know. And then I just, you know, got the information, how to get my license, and that's it.
Wow. And was there any fear in the beginning? Because I know you hear a lot, or what holds some women back is that fear of stepping out, right? Out of that comfort zone. Was there any fear when you got started? And if there was, how did you overcome that? Like, how did you get the courage to step forward?
Initially, there was no fear. I mean, I was by myself. I was single, no children, you know. So there was no fear. There was just a lot of drive. And then, you know, life happens, and then I got pregnant, and then that's when the fear kicked in. You know, like, okay, how am I gonna do this? You know, like have a child and then manage a career. Yeah.
Wow, and that's true, because it changes everything.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Once kid shows up, it changes everything.
Yeah.
So what helped you in that? How did you start managing that? Like, what were some tools that helped you to balance that out and to keep striving for your goals?
There was definitely some difficult times, some very depressing times, times that I was even doubting myself. I wanted to quit halfway, you know, into getting my license. I'm like, I can't do this. But I had a really good support system I had my sister. I had a really good friend that helped me out, in terms of even paying for a course, because it is expensive. And, I ran out of money, yeah. And then I made sure that I always follow online people that I admire. This lady, her name is last name is Corcoran. She's a real estate guru in New York. Okay. And just following people that are in the business, and try to see what they're doing, to just give me that drive. Yeah.
Wow, and so it's possible to keep doing it even with the fear and all. And you talked about having friends, having family, people around to kind of support you. Was there a goal that you had in mind being a mother? Because I know a lot of women that kind of stop themselves from going forward. Oftentimes there isn't a goal at hand, right, that they kind of give for themselves. But was there a goal that you set for yourself as you were going through that to keep you motivated?
Definitely. I think I just wanted to have more freedom. Okay. Not just financially, but just spend time with my daughter. Yeah. And growing up, being an immigrant here, with my mom that brought me here, I saw a lot of challenges in the sense that we didn't have much. So I wanted to make sure that my daughter never lacked. So I think that was my motivation. I wanted her, when you have kids, you want them to have more than you, right?
True.
So there's certain things I just didn't want her to go through, make certain decision as a young woman, because of lack of money or, not being comfortable. So that was my main motivation, yeah.
And that's amazing. And I know we were talking about something before offset, but we were kind of talking about the difficulty or the comparison from a man to a woman, right? Yeah. When you want to be that business person, for a man, most likely they'll have, they can have people to take care of the kids or the wife to stay home. Yeah. But that, in your shoes, it's not always the case, right? You got to bring your daughter around, you got to bring your child around where you need to go to be able to get that. So that can feel overwhelming, I'm sure, right? Yeah. So what helps you, and I want some women who are in that position to hear that, what helps you when you are feeling overwhelmed with that pressure of being a mom and being a businesswoman? Those hats, you never get to take one off.
No, you don't.
Like, you're continuously wearing both. Yeah. And I know that's very stressful, but what are some helpful tools that helps you stay balanced and to not, lose your control with that?
I think honestly, sometimes when it does get overwhelming, if I need to take a break, I take a break. Sometimes it's just too much. Right. And if I have to cry for the next 2 days, I do, because it's not easy, but it's not impossible. Right? And as long as you're dedicated and you put the work in, you don't give up, it's just gonna work out. I'm happy that where I am now, when I look back a couple of years ago, when I became a single mom with barely $30 to my name at the end of the month. And now that I'm in a position where I can take care of my daughter, I don't have any issues. That's the main goal. That's what keeps me going, right? But as I said, if I need to take a break, a week or 2 weeks, that's when you're an entrepreneur, because you can do that because you're your own boss. Right. And if I need that time off, because mentally I'm drained, I take the time off. Right. I do.
And I love that you say that, because I think that's so important, right? And ladies, I hope you guys are really hearing that piece, taking a break when you need to. Because I think what's a challenge for women, and mostly I think anybody probably in the entrepreneur world as well, you think that if you're on a go, you got to go all the time. You got to be on 100 every single day. But there is those times where you need to take a break, where you kind of need to zone back in, where you kind of center in on the things that are important to you, and that's okay. It's not a failure, right? Yeah. But it just means I need to gather myself, refill my cup, and be able to keep pushing forward in what I'm doing. Wow, I love that. I hope folks are hearing that. And when we talk faith-wise, where does faith play in that for you, in that struggle, in that grind, in that process? Where do you put faith in all of those things that you're trying to do as a woman and building that empire?
That's an everyday thing, to be honest with you, because without faith, I don't think I would have had the courage to go through getting my license, almost 2 years of studying. And you also have to clean your surroundings. I believe that, you know, you have to be very spiritual because God like remove people around you that are just not beneficial for you to get to the next level. And that's what happened. Like a lot of people that I knew, I had to just stop mingling with them or just messing with them, right? Because where I was going, that's not what, you know, I couldn't carry them along, right? Or they were holding me back, or trying to make bad decisions, right? So faith is everything. Like, it's constant. It's before I go to bed, you know, while I'm eating, you know, when I meet a new client. It's really important because even when I meet clients, I tell them, like, our energy has to match. You know, if your energy is not up and you know, if we don't match, we're not going to get a result. You know, and I'm constantly telling my clients, like, hey, whenever they're feeling down, maybe things are not working out the way we want to, you know, try to push them. Hey, don't worry, we're going to get a place, or we're going to close this deal, you know, and always make sure our energy is always aligned with that. And then keeping it at the foundation, right? And one of the things I really want women to hear today is that, you know, underneath it all, it's the foundation that you set there, right? And I think, like you're saying, faith has to be part of your everyday. Has to be part of what you do every single day, and it has to be rooted in who you are as a person, right? And I think it kind of times in, right, in where the Bible says that, you know, the steps of a righteous person has to be guided by God. So kind of like, if you put God at the center of it, then everything else begins to work itself out, right? So what would you tell a woman who wants to, like, she's looking at the time, she wants to start that business, she wants to, you know, take that leap of faith, but she's afraid, she's uncertain, she has kids, you know what I mean? She has all of those things. What would you tell that woman? What advice, what encouragement would you tell her for her to get going? Definitely what I've learned is when you want something, when you're guided towards a goal, you just have to take the first step. Don't worry about the second step or the third step. You know, as I said, when I started, like, you know, I had my money saved up for my classes, but then, you know, failing a couple of exams, and then every time you fail, you have to pay, you know, full price. And my sister stepped in, and she's like, hey, don't worry, I'll pay for that class for you. You know, my girlfriend stepped in. You know, when I needed somebody to watch my daughter to go do an exam, you know, my girlfriend stepped in. So you just have to take that first step and just trust that as you go, things will just open up. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I can't even explain it. It just happened, you know, so,
And that is so true. Taking that first step. And trusting that subsequently everything else is going to take care of itself, right?
It does.
And you can get going. And I even think about that, even as you take that first step, right, you'll probably feel all of those feelings we talked about, the fear, the worries, and all of those things. And I know you have this for yourself because you have a strong team, but can you speak to the women as well of the importance of not doing it alone? Like, I really want you to emphasize on that, of having a team of, if it's friends, colleagues, mentors, people around that pour into you and that support you. Can you talk about how important that is? Because sometimes we think you have to succeed on your own. But I believe the same way it takes a village to raise a child, I also believe it takes a village, you know, to bring that person to that place of success. So can you talk a bit about the importance of women who are trying to get into the field to secure their team and to make sure it's a strong one?
What I would say definitely is that when you want to do something with your life, people are gonna reveal themselves to you. So you're either gonna have friends or foes. You know,
that's true.
So my circle became very, very small because some people were literally trying to discourage me. You know, maybe not doing intentionally and unintentionally, but the words were there. Like, why are you stressing yourself? Like, just take care of your child. Why don't you have another child? You know, why don't you just get a job? You know, like, why do you need to be so successful? You know, so my circle became very small because I had to cut all the noise around me and basically stop talking to certain people. So you're gonna see as you go along that not everybody's gonna be happy for you because you're trying to become somebody. Right? So my circle, I don't even have up to 5 friends in my circle, you know, and I'm okay with that because those 5 people that I have, they're my foundation, and they're all I need to get to where I want to get to.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very true. And ladies, I hope you're hearing some of these things. You know, sometimes it sounds like it has to be complicating, but it's really simple. It's dumbing it down to basic stuff, right? Having a strong foundation, having a team around you, and just taking that first step forward and letting everything else take place one step at a time, right? So Nathalie, where can people follow you? You know, I didn't get a chance to brag about what you do. I like to let people do that for themselves.
Right.
So, you know, tell folks what you're doing right now, what you're involved in, and how people can get in contact with you in order to do some business and with you and all of that.
Yeah, so I'm a real estate agent in Toronto. I do commercial and residential real estate. I buy, sell, rent, lease. So even a lot of commercial clients, if you're just starting up a business and you're not sure how to go about it, I have a list of people, like resources, like contractors, electricians. If you need help with permits, you know, like I'm all in to make sure that your business is successful. And I'm always keep in touch with my client as well to make sure everything is okay. So I'm on Instagram, _ real estate, _ GTA, _ real estate queen. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so
we'll put it on the screen for you. Don't worry. Yeah.
Right. So so that's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah.
Wonderful. And listen, I encourage everybody. I encourage you guys to reach out if you are in the real estate, or you're a client, you're trying to buy, rent, your business, your church, wherever you might be, you're in the GTA area. I encourage you to see the information that have been put on the screen, to contact Nathalie, and she'll definitely be able to support you. And for women, I want you to see that it is possible. When you put your mind to it, when you dedicate yourself, just like she said, you are able to do it. Any final word that you want to give to women? Any encouragement that you want to give to the women who might be watching us? Feel free. Just give them some last words before we part ways.
Yeah, basically, I just feel like, you know, I still have a long way to go, but I want to be a testimony, you know, to a lot of women that if I can do it, you can. Because my circumstances were enough for me to quit, you know. But if I can do it with basically no support, you know, at all, single mom, there's no reason for you not to be able to do it. Just be consistent, you know, put God first, and, you know, let the sky be your limit. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nathalie.
My pleasure.
It was such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your knowledge. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. Listen, sometimes great wisdom are said in such a simple way that you got to go back, rewind, listen to it again, and make sure you take it in. But I want to talk to every woman out there, young women out there, mothers, single mothers, whatever situation you are in. Like Nathalie said, it's possible. You just have to dedicate yourself to that task. Don't be afraid to try. Maybe the tomorrow you have been dreaming about is just rested behind that first step. So take that first step and see what happens. And until then, make sure you continue to subscribe and to tune in to our next episode. It was your host, Treasure Kalambe. Thank you for tuning in to The Process. Take care.